नहमदुहु व नसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़ाऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली Rabbi Zidni Ilma, Allahumma Fakihna Fiddin. Today, inshallah, we will be studying from ayat number 67 onwards, Surah al-Baqarah. The topic is still about Bani Israel in the times of Musa alayhi salam. And the event under discussion today is most relevant to the name of the Surah al-Baqarah, which is a cow in Arabic. Let me give you the basic story of what happened in this event and how they asked questions to Musa alayhi salam. So what happened was that one of a very rich man of Bani Israel was murdered by somebody within their tribe only. Chances were that he was killed, he was murdered because of his riches, and in actual his nephew had killed him so that he could marry the daughter and get he could inherit everything that belongs to the daughter. So what happened was when the Bani Israel were asking each other questions and then they were not able to reach any answer, they decided that we should go to Musa alayhi salam because he was supposed to be the most noble person among them. So they went to him and asked him. He didn't know the answer right away, of course. He said that I can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us. And then if you can remember from the previous ayahs, what their style used to be that Musa, ask your Lord, ask your Rabb who killed this man. And then the next day or in a couple of hours, at whatever time Musa alayhi salam had given them, when they came back, Musa alayhi salam told them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to slaughter a cow. And they got so upset because they were really attached to cows and calves, and because of living in slavery for so many years and also kind of getting into the idea of worshipping the cow so much that they found this really offensive, and they said that, are you out of your mind, Musa? And Musa alayhi salam said that I am not the one who would make fun of anything, especially something that is very dear to you. This really is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When they realized that he was serious about it and it was an important matter, so they started asking questions to Musa alayhi salam about the cow to be slaughtered. Now keep in mind that it all started with just a simple command that you have to slaughter a cow, and then the next commands will come. There was no specification of what the cow should look like, how old that the cow has to be, or anything like that. But among the lessons that we need to learn from this event is the consequences of asking too many questions. When we ask lots of questions, we are not just wasting other person's time, our time, but we are also making things more and more complicated. So when they realized that it was this thing sounded important and serious, so they started asking questions about, oh Musa, what should the cow look like? What should the age of that cow be? What should be the color of that cow? Where can we find it? Etc. etc. And finally, when they did, after all the questions and making the thing more complicated, they ended up finding a cow that was required. Then they slaughtered the cow and they were told to take a piece of this cow's flesh and strike it on the deceased, the person who had died. And the person woke up and just took the name of his murderer, who was the nephew. And the actual person who pointed out instead of him, because he was distracting everyone by telling the name of the butcher or trying to frame other people for that. So with this, we will start the tarjuma of the translation of the ayats, inshallah. Ayat number 67. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wa and is when. Wa is and remember when. Qala said. Qaf aw lam is the root. Musa alayhi salam. So remember when Musa alayhi salam said, Li for qawmihi, his qawm, his nation. He means his. Inna Allah, indeed Allah, ya'murukum. The root is Amar Hamza Mim Ra, which means commands. So he commands ya'murukum you on that tazbahu zal baha zibah means slaughter and starts with that, so you should slaughter baqarah. Baqar means cow in Arabic. So وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ, and said Musa to his nation, Inna Allah, indeed Allah, ya'murukum, he commands you an tazbahu baqara, that you should slaughter a cow. Qalu, they said, a are you tattakhizuna akhaz hamza khazal, are you making na for us huzua? Huzu is mockery or making fun of someone. Are you making fun of us? Qala, he said, Musa alayhi salam said, A'udhu billahi, I seek refuge in Allah. This is the same A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So Ain Waw Zal, the word ta'weez also comes from there. Qala a'udhu billahi, I seek refuge in Allah on that akuna. Kaf waw noon is the root, the word kun that we hear that Allah just has to say kun, be, right? So akuna means that I become minal jahilin, min from jahilin, jim ha lam jahal means ignorant, that I seek refuge from Allah that I become one of the ignorant people. I become one of those people who make fun. So one thing that we can learn from this first ayat only is that the person in Quran, the person who makes fun is mentioned to be the one among the jahilin, among somebody who's not have does not have etiquette, does not have any grace, does not have any education, is not somebody who is presentable. So somebody who makes fun is not somebody who is superior than the other, because usually in this dunya, when we make fun of someone, we kind of, if you go in the psychology of making fun, what do people think? What are they doing when they're making fun of someone? You can only make fun of someone when you think you're better than them, right? So when you think that you are better than somebody, it means you have takabbur. You are proud of what you are, and you think that, oh, I'm better than this person who did this and this. So jahil is the person who is proud of himself, who thinks I'm better than this person. And jahil is the person who makes fun of others. So next time you're making fun of somebody, please keep in mind how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned this kind of person. What is the category that you will be among? Because Musa alayhi salam mentions when they say that, are you making fun of us? And he says, I seek refuge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I become one of the jahilin. Okay, so we do not want to become one of the jahilin, so we have to be very careful about how we behave, what we do, or how we refer to others' actions. Then ayat number 68, qalu, they said, ad'u, dal ain waw, ask lana for us, noon alif is us and la for us, rabbaka, your Rabb. Look at the style, look at the attitude. Qalu ad'u lana rabbaka, ask your Lord. Yubayyin lana. Yubayyin, the root is ba ya noon bayin. Bain, as I had also explained before, is means loud and clear. In the older traditions, when people used to hire others to cry on deaths at home, so the people who are coming and they don't think that, oh, these people, the family just stopped crying, they cried a couple of hours, their father died or their mother died or somebody died, and they only cried for a couple of hours, and now they're sleeping and eating and doing things as normal. So what did they used to do? They used to hire people who would come and cry for days and days and rip their clothes, and so that action was called bayan, to do bayan. Okay, the crying and ripping clothes and being loud, so mourning loudly basically. So this was called bayan. And the other examples of bayina, which is very clear, and bayan in Urdu, that something that clarifies things, makes things clear to us. So yubayyin also is from the root bayanun. They are saying, make it clear, tell your Lord, make dua to your Lord to make it clear for lana, for us, Ma, what? Hiya, it should be like the cow. Okay, they're asking about the cow. They're telling Musa alayhi salam, can you ask your Lord that he should make it clear for us what it should be like the cow. We don't know. We don't understand what we mean by cow. Qala. And this is where they start making it difficult for themselves. Qala. So Musa alayhi salam says, Innahu, indeed, he, Yaqulu, says, Innaha, ha means the cow, Baqaratun, the cow should be, La faridun, La, not, Farid comes from the root faradwad, just like we say the farad salah. Okay, something that has to be done. That's something that has reached a point of importance, or something that is definitely has to be done. Something that is aged also comes from that. So la faridun, something that is not. Word mature also comes from that. Some salah is fard salah that cannot be missed, that is mature, that is important. So la faridun, it should not be old. Okay, it should not be a very old cow, responding in terms of age. Wa and la, not. And not bikrun, ba kafra, very young cow. So it should not be very old and it should not be very, very young. Awanum, ain waw noon, aun means something in the middle. Baina, between, zalika, between these two. Zalika, these. So between farid and between bikr, the age should be in the middle. Awanun, in the middle. Okay. Fa'alu, fa, so fa'al means they did, ma, what, tu'marun. So he said that do. Tu'marun comes from Hamza Mimra again, that we covered in the ayat number 67 for Amr. So fa'alu. So Musa alayhi salam told them, so now do. Fa'al, fa'al lam means to do, work upon. So do ma, whatever, tu'marun, you are commanded. Hamza Mimra. So do according to what you're commanded. Find a cow which is in the normal age, not too young, not too old. Now 69. Let's see what other questions they have. Qalu, they say, Udu'u lana. Dal ain waw again. Make dua lana for us. Rabbaka, your Rabb. Yubayyil lana. Again, the same first phrase is exactly the same as in ayat number 68. Qalu du'u lana. Rabbaka, yubayyil lana. Now, what is the next part that they're asking? Ma, what, lawnuha. Lam wa noon means color, and ha means its. So ask your Lord for us to make it clear, yubayyina, to make it clear for us what should be its color. Qala, he said, Musa alayhi salam said, Innahu, indeed, he, yaqulu, he says. Who means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yaqulu, he says. Innaha, and ha is for the cow. Indeed, it, baqaratun, the cow, safra'u, yellow. Okay, safar. So yellow, saffron is also yellow orange color, right? So yellowish color. Faqi'ul lawnuha. Faqi'un, faqaf ain, which means bright. It should be bright. Lawnuha, again lam waw noon, the color of it. It should be so bright. Tasurrun nazirin. Tasur comes from sin ra ra. You might have heard the word surur, which means pleasant or nice, enjoyable. Nazirin, noon, zwa, ra. Nazar means to see. So it should be pleasant to see. It should be a yellow color, just enough bright that it is pleasant for the people who see. Nazirin are the people who will do the nazar, who will see. Okay, now they come up with the third one. Qalu, they say, Ud'u lana rabbaka yubayyin lana. Qalu, now they start again with a question. Qalu ud'u lana, ask for us. Rabbaka, your Rabb, yubayyin lana, to make it clear upon us. Ma hiya, what it should be like. Innal baqara, indeed, the cow, tashabahal alayna. Sheen baha means that it's mixing, it's confusing. Shubh, somebody looking like the other. So they said tashabaha, it is not clear for us. We are still confused. Alayna, upon us. There is confusion. Just the age and color is not doing it. We are not able to understand what does the God want. Wa, indeed, in if Allahu, Allah wants, la, in fact, muhtadun, hadalia, we will be guided. So they said that if God wants, inshallah, we will be guided. And guidance over here is not the guidance to Islam, it is the guidance to finding the cow. And it is said in a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that if these people had not used the word inshallah in ayat number 70 over here, they would never have been able to find the cow. Just because they used the word inshallah, it showed their reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that it showed that their intention was to find the cow. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped them. Otherwise, they would have just stayed in the loop of asking questions and never would have reached the answer to that. Qala. So they say that, can you tell Allah, your Lord, to make it clear for us? In alBaqarah tashabaha alayna, it is confusing upon us. Wa inna insha'allahu la muhtadun, and indeed if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, we will be guided, we will get the guidance for finding the cow. Qala, ayat number 71, Musa alayhi salam said, innahu, indeed he, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yaqulu, he says, innaha, indeed this, baqaratun, the cow, la, not, zalulun, zal, lam, the other derived words are, in Urdu there is a word zalil, which means humiliated, somebody who is cursed. The other meaning that also kind of, you can say opposite or linked to the word humiliated, is trained, or somebody who stays low, who is weak, who's subservient, right? So the cow who is tamed or trained or who works on the earth, basically. So zalil over here does not mean a humiliated cow, it just means a cow which is trained or subservient or stays low, doing what? Tuthirul arda, tha waw ra. Thor also means hard and also means to dig the earth. So ard means earth. So la zalulun tuthirul ard, it has not been low in doing what? In digging the earth. Meaning it is not used in farming. It is not used in sowing the seeds. It is not used for the fields. A cow that has not been used for the fields. What else? Wala, and not tasqil hartha. Taski, saqi also comes from there. Saqi means it drinks or it helps drink. Hartha, haris means farmer, protector, and haras means the field. So it has not been irrigating the field. Basically, a cow that has not been used in the fields for the crops. Okay? And what else does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explain to them? Musallamatun, sin, lam, mim. Also it means Muslim, but it means something that is sound in health. Basically, it is not ill. It is ready to surrender. It is solid. It is sound in health. La, not shiata. Shiata means embroidery or any stains. So it does not have any blemish on it. It is clear. Fiha, in it. So there is no embroidery on it, or there is no blemish, or there is no scars or stains on it. So the things that are explained after this question, when they said inshallah, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains that it is not some cow that has worked in the fields for sowing the seeds or for digging or for watering the fields. It is healthy and it does not have any stains. And then what did they say? Qalu, they said al-ana, now, ji'ta, we get it, bil haqqi, the truth. So al-an, an means now, ji'ta, jim hamza ya, means we get, bil haqq, the truth. Now we understand. First, so zabahuha, zalbaha means zibah. So they did the slaughter. Wa and ma, not kadu, they were close to, yaf'alun, fa, ain, lam. Meaning, so after this, they actually slaughtered the cow, although it seemed like they were not going to do it because of their questions, continuous questions, right? So this is, when we see it here, it seems like, okay, there were 3 questions and they were just happening that one session. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has summarized the story, and maybe, it took a few hours or a couple of days or a lot of discussion, and it's not like unanimously everyone is asking exactly the same question. So they were like, there was a lot of back and forth going on. And it usually, when people ask so many questions, it also shows their unwillingness of doing something. And they're like, really, I have to do this? Sometimes, like when you tell somebody that you have to do this work, like, okay, I also have to do this part. So I also have to wrap them if I have to give them the gift. These are poor people. They'll be happy just like that as well. Do I have to give them in a packaged proper gift form? Okay, do I also have to bring these? Oh, so asking so many questions also shows the unwillingness. Somebody who is ready to do things, they'll be like, okay, yeah, all right. So tell me, give me feedback if you want me to correct something. I understand that this is what is required of me. So this is what a person sounds like when he's completely ready to do it. It seems like that they were not ready for this, they were not willing for this, they were asking too many questions. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of his mercy on them, he guided them. And also, eventually they started having the intentions of doing the right thing, because they understood that Allah really wants them to do this. And then wa and is when. So when, and remember when, qataltum, you did the qatal, nafsan, nun fasin, of one soul, fadara'tum fiha. Wa and is when, wa is and remember when, qataltum, you did the qatal, you killed. Qaf ta lam, qatal means to murder. You murdered nafsan, a soul amongst you. Fadara'tum, dal ra hamza. Dara'a means dispute, to argue, to talk. Faddaratum, so you started the dispute. Fiha, about it. You started fighting about it. Because they were arguing, they were saying who killed, and somebody was framing others, and they would say, okay, the butcher did it, the neighbor did it, etc., etc. Because the nephew killed the person and put the body at somebody else's doorstep. So there was a lot of dara'a, there was a lot of dispute about it. Wallahu, and Allah, mukhrijun kharajim, takes out. Kharaj means expel, exit. Takes out ma, what, kuntum, you, taktumun, kaf tamim means to hide, whatever you hide. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very easily takes out whatever you hide. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows everything. What, it's very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show, to make it clear whatever you all hide. First, so qulna, we said. So who's we? Because it is na over here. We, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we said, qulna dribuhu, dadraba means to strike. Who? It, the dead body, bi ba'diha, ba and dad, ba'az, any part of it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in ayat number 673, so we said to strike it, the deceased, with the part of it. So the part of body of the cow, the slaughtered cow. So part of the slaughtered cow was taken, and it had to be struck to the deceased, the dead body. Kazalika, that is how. Yuhyi, ha ya ya, makes alive, gives life. Allahu, Allah, al mauta, to the dead. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed everyone how it is very easy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give life again to the person who had died. This is a huge miracle. This was so big. Again, just like the raising of the mountain, just like the destruction of the whole mountain, just like the parting of the sea, they had seen so many miracles, and they were still like, back to their same old ways after everything that would happen to them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that this is how Allah shows how He can wake up the deceased, the dead. Wa and yurikum, ra hamza ya, showed you, ayatihi, his ayat, la'allakum, so that you, taqilun, aqal, ain qaf lam means, aqal means mind, so you can use your mind. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that there are many things that you could learn from it if anyone who wanted to learn anything. In the next ayat, in the next lesson also, we'll talk about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala analyzes how people, after even seeing so many miracles, they still go back to their own, because their hearts were not soft anymore. They would not melt even if they would see so many things.